Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's Gift of Healing TV. I'm Sarah Jane, your hostess and founder of Gift of Healing TV. And as you can see, I actually have my guest here with me this week. I'm going to move back out of the way for most of this so that our guests can speak to you. I'm delighted to welcome Trevor van der Velde-Smith, who's joining us today to share fitness, a good health story. Let me introduce Trevor to you first. Trevor's interest in fitness and good health started as a child with a Dutch mother who extolled healthy lifestyles, even with her own challenges, a Scots-descended father who had been an army boxing champion for 10 years, and a Dutch grandfather who won a bronze medal for gymnastics in the Olympics. No pressure then. However, his interest was always more focused on what gives us healthy body and peace of mind more than winning competitions, although he did have a few successes. Today, he has over 40 years experience in helping individuals ranging from running remedial fitness programs whilst in HM Armed Services, teaching karate as a national instructor and as a qualified personal fitness assessor and trainer, helping clients to lose weight, stop smoking, reduce drinking, and reach their own personal health goals. His interest is now very focused on what helps individuals maintain a successful health regime. Trevor, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Sarah. So it's over to me, is it?
Well, yeah, but obviously we've read a little bit about your start in life. But do you want to is there a little story to do with health and fitness about yourself that you'd like to share? Okay, well, big story then.
Okay. I think health and fitness for me started as a child because I was quite ill. And I had a lot of illnesses like bronchitis, all the normal children's illnesses and diseases, from German measles 3 times through to whooping cough and lots of other things. But whenever I wasn't ill, I used to love getting out and being in the fresh air and running around. But I quickly started to understand that that fitness wasn't just about running around. It was about looking after yourself and getting fitter. And we spent a lot of time being ill. It was great when I was fit and healthy. So my interest really peaked at a very young age. You know, I started looking at ways that I could, from about the age of 7 or 8, because by then I'd spent probably 3 or 4 years in a hospital with different illnesses. I basically was looking for different things that could help me help myself to be healthier. And I remember back, and I won't tell you how long ago it was, but back before the 60s, I bought my first book on yoga, and they were rare because nobody had heard of yoga. It was like a magic science from somewhere else, and I had all these poses, and I used to try and stand on my head and all those things. And whilst it was fun, it didn't really work. But I remember being Dutch. We spent a lot of time in Holland, 3 months every year, and in Holland, nobody travelled abroad in those days because that didn't happen to the package tours in the 70s. And Holland had a completely different way of eating and living, which was very, very health orientated. You know, and so everybody was always amazed when I said we used to have a yogurt plant. So this was, you used to get milk and you used to put a plant in it, and the milk used to curdle, and that used to come off, and that used to create yogurt. And that's how we made our own yogurt. I'm not sure if it'd be allowed these days, or whether it make you ill, but that's what it was anyway. So I became very, very interested in how the whole body works, and I think if I'd been more academically minded when I was younger, I might have gone down to be trained as a doctor, because it's just, I'm now totally fascinated, one, by how your body works, and in terms of the success and failures we have with it, but particularly from a mental point of view. You know, why I train a lot of people, I help a lot of people, and the one thing I find, whether it's teaching martial arts or getting people fit or helping people lose weight, is that they find it very difficult to stick at it. So, and they say, well, that's what we pay you because you're our motivation. And so I'm very interested now in how do I change that motivation? How do I make people motivate themselves? So like myself, people say to me, oh, well, training's easy for you. Well, I can share this now with the world. training's not easy for me. It's just as hard as it is for everybody else. You know, it's just that I keep doing it, and so periods when I don't train, when I come back to it, I just remember how painful it is for having stopped training. So that's really the background to where I am, or how I got into the fitness world. I think what cemented it for me was, whilst I was serving with the military, I was diagnosed with a rare form, I think it's rare, of a blood pressure condition. So I don't have what they call essential hypertension. I basically overproduce a chemical in my body which raises my blood pressure. Now, all the wisdom at the time when I first got it didn't discover that for me. So they tried to medicate me, and this is really pushed me down the road of looking after myself. They tried to medicate me with the incorrect medication, not because they weren't trying to do the best for me. It's because the condition I had really wasn't that well known, and so they were just looking to see. And so for 10 years, myself and the military doctors had a sort of a bit of a ding dong every time we met, because I didn't want to take the drugs, so they used to make me pass out in the street, and they said, no, they're really good for you. And I went, well, no, I don't think so. So the upshot of it was, about 8 years ago, long time after I left the services, I went to see somebody locally, and they checked me out, and they said, oh, after a year of trying to put me on the same drugs again, they went, oh, maybe you should go and have this test. And I had this test, and they discovered what it was, and they went, oh, right, well, you had the wrong stuff all the time. So for a long time, I've realised that the medical profession does its best for you, you know, and having done quite a lot of education myself now, what I find is that although I'm quite well educated, I don't always know the answers, and the stuff I've learned may not be the right answer. So the one thing I've learned to do is just question everything I hear, and as a consequence, I've kind of got into looking at when people say, well, I've got this and this wrong with me, can you help me? And I'll say, well, have you tried this, have you tried that? These are conventional things, maybe there's a different way. So that's really that cemented it for me. And part of the time when I was in the services, I had responsibility for the guys who were remedially unfit in terms of their training. So it could be they psychologically dropped out because it was too tough, or they had a physical injury, like they broke a leg or something, and they then got dropped out of their training troop or team, and that caused all sorts of psychological problems. So I became very interested in how you could remotivate people, and motivating and actually getting people to move forward. So that's really my focus. And then, of course, you put a picture of me in my martial arts suit on the website. Thank you very much. Why martial arts? Well, for me, particularly karate, I started in 1972 when I was in London, living in London. And for me, it's a complete discipline in terms of what it offers. So it's not just a physical element, but it also has a mental side to it, and also has a spiritual side. So what it is it's a way of living. So if you look in the instructor's manual, being an instructor now, if you're in the instructor's manual, one of the principles of it is the fact that we should take what we learn in training in the martial arts hall out into the world and live our life that way. So it's a way of structuring your life that has rigorous discipline, but also allows a flexibility that can suit each individual person. So it's and from a physical point of view, it's very, very good, because it covers all the main things that I'm going to touch on later. But it covers breathing, it covers mobility, it covers balance, it covers strength training, and it actually, while you're doing that, it allows you, if you get into it at a high enough level and work hard enough, it allows you to actually mentally escape into that thing that everybody talks about, is like a Zen transcendence. So perform a routine, which are known as katas, but a set form routine of maybe 20 to 60 moves, but you're actually lost in that world while you're doing it. So you're not actually aware of the people around you. You're aware of the targets that you would actually be imaginarily fighting. So I just like it. So it pulls all that together, and it gives you a way of life. So that's really the background to how I got into health and fitness. But I've made some notes here because it's a big subject. and I could sit here for about 2 days. I don't think I physically could. But the interesting thing with it is the fact that people phone me up and they say, "Oh, Trevor, you're a personal trainer." I say, "Yes, I am." And they say, "Well, do you think you could do a training program for me?" And I go, "Oh, well, I could. We need to sit down and have a little consultation and discuss what it's about." And nobody ever comes to see me about being healthier. So, yeah. So for me, that's, it's kind of, they come and see me and they say, "Can I lose weight? Can I stop smoking?" And they're all things which, so what I've started to realize is the fact that we live in what I like to call a curative society. Yeah. So I don't want to do anything if I need fixing, right? And then I want to take something or get a fix that fixes me tomorrow. And well, as I say to a lot of people, and as people said to me when I was sort of going to that state myself, you need to let things go, and well, how long did it take to get to that state? And do you think we can fix it in one day? And the answer is probably not. So I'm just fascinated by the fact that people come to me to get healthier, to lose weight, whatever, but it's never directly to keep their health, maintain their health. And and the big problem that I perceive we have as a country and a society is the fact that we don't want to prevent things. We want to buy it off the shelf and fix it when it's wrong. So it's, can I buy it off the shelf and fix it? And so consequently, there's a lot of prescribed drug use to actually medicate people for things which they could actually do themselves with a little bit of effort. Now, the issue comes is that little bit of effort, because a little effort is uncomfortable. So if I say, one of my clients, when they first started training, I must say this gentleman went on to run 10 world-class marathons, right? But when I first trained him, he said, I think I'd like to do some running. And I took him out and we did a walk, run over about 2.5 miles. And I made him sprint 50 meters, and he was nearly ill, physically ill. He's sick. And he just said to me, he said, "Oh, no, this is terrible. I don't want to do this." And I said, "Well, did you think it was going to be that easy straight away?" And so when we just gradually built it, like within a year, he did the London Marathon, and he did it in a respectable time of just under 4 hours. So I think the thing is that you have to make that mental, if you want to improve fitness, you have to make that mental step whereby you say, well, it's not going to be easy. It's like anything in life. If you want something that's going to benefit you, from everything I've ever done, it never seems to be easy. You have to put in effort. So it doesn't. If you want to be good at meditating, guess what? You have to do some meditating. You can't read a book and go, "I'm a meditator." It just doesn't. It doesn't work. So I'm fascinated by the society we live in, and the fact that we always want something for nothing. Or can I take a pill and can it fix me tomorrow? And I have to be honest, when my car doesn't work, I'm much the same. I want to give it to the garage and can have it back in half an hour and it all fixed. And they look at me and go, "No." That's it. But I've just dragged some stuff off here. Yeah, why should we get fit and healthy? This is, whenever I talk to people say to me, I say, "Well, why would you want to be fit? Are there any benefits?" Because most of us like to sit on a couch, eat what we want to eat, watch TV, take it easy, get out, walk around, not go to work, and just do that, or sit on the beach or whatever. And so I have to say to people, have you ever thought about what the benefits are? So this was a little bit of research. I just went into Google and I just put fitness into Google, and one of the first things I pulled up, it was the NHS website, and it just says, "Step right up. It's the miracle cure we've all been waiting for. It reduces your risk of major illness such as heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and cancer by up to 50%, and lowers your risk of early death by up to 30%. The biggest point is how much time we spend sitting down or lying down, which is bad for our health." So what they're basically saying is, with a little bit of fitness, and I'm talking about a little bit of fitness here, this can really change your life. And so what is a little bit of fitness?
Yeah, exactly. What
is a little bit of fitness? Okay, well, I did a lot. At one stage, about 15 years ago, when I was very focused on running my personal training business, I found in the area, I live in the Bournemouth area, and a lot of people are middle to older. So when I say that, they're like 40s to 70 probably. I think the oldest I've ever trained is 80, but 40s to 70s. And they tend to be ladies who have gone through the menopause or going through the menopause or any of these things. And so I did a whole lot of research in that area. And one of the big issues I find is that the bones become brittle.
Yeah.
Okay, so I always describe it as you get bones which look like a bar of Aero. So basically you've got the chocolate, but there's all holes inside it, and that's what happens to the bones. And as a consequence, and that's, and just so I just mentioned this, that's a lot worse if you smoke. No, the smoking, this is all based on a lot of, you can just go and look up, there's all the research on it, but the smoking makes it worse. But the important thing is that what they said is if you stop things that make it worse, but one of the things that really stops that is if you walk briskly for 1.5 miles every day. So that's fitness for people, ladies over 40, that's going to really have a major significant impact on reducing their risk of injury from osteoporosis, and help it work better, and so that to me is people look at me and they go, well, fitness, it's not all about marathon running, it's not all about 2 hours in the gym lifting heavy weights, it's about doing something we do every day. So one of the other things that I consider with this is the fact that 40 years ago, how many people had a car?
Yeah.
How many people had a mobile phone? How many people had a laptop or a screen they looked at? And so consequently, we got up, we went out, we saw people, we didn't go in a car, we walked to the bus stop, we got the bus, we got the train, and we moved around this way. And if you look on a time scale, so humans, I think in the normal human form, we've been around about 2 million years, gradually getting more and more as we are today.
Hardly advanced. But
as we are today. So, but if you look at that as an evolutionary process, then the last 100 years, which is when radios appeared, televisions appeared, communications has appeared, diet and all that has appeared, the last 100 years, if you said the 2 million years is on a 1 hour timescale, then the last 100 years is like about the last 4 seconds. And everybody suddenly sat there with a tablet in front of them. And I was reading some research. The average person now spends 8 hours a day in front of a screen. 8 hours a day, whether that's leisure time, work time, whatever, just sat there. Now, one of the things that the body does, it will naturally adopt to that. And maybe in another 5,000 years, if we keep doing it that way and we don't all die, then we'll have adopted so we can just sit in seats, have food poured in one ear, and just sit and look at the screen to do this and live in the interactive world that's out there, rather than actually being a physical person. But my fingers, they're not designed for the keyboard, they're designed for plucking fruit off trees. That's what they're designed for. Doing this, and people go, well, what do I get RSI? Repetitive strain injury? Well, that's because they're not designed for doing this. They're designed for doing this every now and then. And your body's designed for running away from things that are hostile to you, or running after things that you can eat. So that's the other thing. I watched. There was an interesting program last night, which I think will be repeated on BBC Two by a doctor on why we are obese. And one of the things that he brought out, which was really interesting, is the fact that today we don't have to go and chase after our food. No. In fact, I could sit here now, pick up my mobile phone, and I could get it delivered. And it could be saturated fat, and I could just stuff it in, and carry on watching a screen. So that's changed for me in the last, probably 30 years. That's changed dramatically. So really, that's an interesting piece of information from the National Health, is the fact that we do some exercise, and as I said to you, a brisk walk for about half an hour a day, and when I say a brisk walk, that's really getting your pulse rate so that whatever your resting rate is, it goes up by about 50%, depending if it's very high. But if your resting rate's around about 70, which is normal for ladies, slightly less for men, and you get it up to about 100 or just over 100, then what's actually happening is you're breathing normally, your blood flow's going round, and you're actually increasing the purification of the body as it lifts all the toxins that are in it and move it around. And if you get a little bit of a sweat on, then that's nice because it cleans the skin out. So one of the largest organ in the body is the skin. And one of the things was a bit of a revelation to me was when I was first getting into what's all the different bits and pieces about, is the fact that not only do we have skin on the outside,
yeah,
but all of our veins, all of our stomach, everywhere is lined with skin. You know, and your skin is so important to you. And yet, like on a day like say, it's been very sunny down here, is I see people walking around in a pair of shorts, you know, and they're risking burning their bodies and causing all sorts of illnesses to their skin. And it's particularly relevant to myself because with a mix of a Scottish father and a Dutch mother, you know, and no hair, you know, it's very relevant. I can very easily burn and actually get also. And my dentist, who is one of the people who their job now is as much to not only look at your teeth but to look at for signs of skin cancer on your face. So it's I think there's so much more to actual physical health and fitness. The other piece of research that I picked up was this was in the Daily Telegraph on the 2nd of June, and it was a study by a doctor over in Boston University, the School of Medicine. And what it actually says, we found a direct correlation in our study between poor fitness and brain volume decades later, which indicates accelerated brain aging. So what does that mean? So basically what they found is that they did a study on 40 to 50-year-olds, healthy, normal people who exercised and didn't exercise, and they found that maybe as they were going to their 60s and 70s, some people were more susceptible to dementia and things like this because their brains had actually decreased in size. So going out for a brisk walk or going for a short run or whatever, suddenly it's giving you more brain power as you get older, or taking you away from that. I think the one frightening thing for us all as we get older is the fact that you're going to be dependent on other people. You know, you're no longer in charge of your own body. Somebody else is looking after it for you. And if that happens to be your mind, then that's even worse. You know, because if your mind's not managing your body, then somebody else is managing your body and helping you manage your mind. So one of the things I say this research shows, and it was, you know, it was just reported last week, is the fact that exercise helps the blood flow keep the brain volume size up so that you're actually not at risk of some of those illnesses. So, and the other one I read about, which is really interesting, they did a whole lot of research a long time ago, and some of it, something similar, has just been reported in this was again, picked it up on Google, in the Nursing Times, coming out in July. So it's obviously the early, you know, when it comes out in June, it's March, July. In there, it's just saying how dangerous it is to have people who are bedridden. So within 24 hours, it starts to affect how your heart functions and how your body, because the fluids in your body no longer are being pumped around where they were being pumped around. So all the fluid in your legs travels up into the center of your body and just lays there. Your heart starts working at a lower rate. And as a consequence, based on a lot of research a long time ago about astronauts, they found, and that's one of the reasons why they try and get out of bed as soon as possible, is if they leave you in bed for 3 weeks, your heart actually gets atrophies, it gets smaller. So you actually lose heart capacity, you know, and it's within like 3 weeks, it's quite serious now. So, and the interesting thing is that so Google is very beneficial. The internet is very beneficial because you can research all this yourself. You know, I didn't put any of those search questions anywhere other than Google, when it just went straight, took me to all this different stuff and a bit of reading. So,
but all that stuff's been known for a long time, hasn't it?
Oh, for sure.
It's not, because I mean, obviously there's this thing about Google, you've got to be careful what you read because not everything is true. But obviously what you've got with that, I've heard about the heart shrinking before.
Sure.
The exercise, yes, for the bones, you're just going for those walks every day.
Sure.
But also it helps with the breathing, doesn't it?
Well,
because then, because you're talking about cleaning out the skin by sweating, but also if you're breathing more deeply, then you're cleaning out the lungs as well, and that's beneficial to the body and to the brain, to the mind. Well,
I think the important thing for people to be aware of is if you sit in a sedentary position, i.e. either at a desk working,
like we are now,
this position here, sat here, or you're not talking, because talking gets you breathing. Because one of the things that people say, what can I do to improve my breathing? I say, join a choir. No, because singing is one of the best exercises for breathing. Okay, so people go, I don't want to go running. Join a choir. They go, I don't want to join a choir. Well, I'm not, you know, it's up to you really. But you know, the important thing is that when we sit at a desk or we just sit watching TV or whatever, then what actually happens is we breathe in the top third of our body. So one of the things I say to my clients who are smokers trying to give up, is in the bottom half of your body when you're doing that, the tar just gradually dribbles down. And the way I always describe it to people, if you get a nice white cauliflower and you go and get a car's old engine oil, and you stick your cauliflower in and you pull it out and you watch it dripping, that's what's happening in the bottom of your lungs. It's exactly that. And the very finest type of skin is in the alveoli, which is the little puffed up sacs where the air interchanges in the lungs from into the blood, oxygen in and out, and takes out all the rubbish, CO2, okay, and pass it back out. Well, if that's all coated and you're just using the top half here of your lungs, then the difficulty is that this is all clogging up and just gradually not working. So it's just no longer. And then what I often find is with people like that, I say, right, do something like briskly go up 2 flights of stairs. When they get to the top, they're coughing up. They're coughing quite badly. And the fact is, what's happened is you've disturbed all that rubbish that's in your lungs. It's come up to the higher, and it doesn't want it. And it wants it out. So one of the things is that one of the exercises that's very good for people is what I call rhythmic breathing. You know, so and what you have to do is you can sit in a chair like this. So should we do so?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So if you sat in the chair, just sit upright, so your back's straight. So you've got a nice chair like this one here, back's upright, your arms down by side or in front of you here, just so you're comfortable here. And then as you breathe in, what I want you to do is breathe in initially into the lower half here, from your sort of lower part of your chest down into your stomach. So your stomach bulges like a little fat Buddha. That's the one. Yeah. Breathe in, and then basically push it up into the top half of your chest. So keep expanding. So you're completely full up now. And now I just want you to hold your breath in for what's a comfortable time. So, so let's say about 4 seconds. And then what you have to do is breathe out slowly, but in reverse. So push it all out and then hold it all out for 4 seconds. And then when you've done that, breathe in again. Expanding up all the way from the base all the way up. Hold it in 4 seconds. And then breathe out again. Let it all out for 4 seconds. So it's out. So, and just relax. So that's a breathing technique, which is very good if you can't sleep. So if you're laying in bed, you're going, oh, I can't sleep, I want to count sheep. Well, don't count sheep. What you need to do is get a rhythmic breathing going. So, and focus on the breath going in and out. So when you're breathing in, you should try and breathe in through the nostrils. And when you're breathing out, try and keep your lips tight, so you're pushing the air out. Because when you do that, or if you put your tongue on the top of the roof of your mouth, I can't talk about that. Put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, then basically as you push out, what it does, it relieves stress. So, and you're pushing the stress out, and it just takes it all out. So you can breathe in through your nose, and if you get it going, you can. And the way I practice is, I used to go out briskly walking, and I used to breathe in for 8 paces. Hold it in for 8 paces, breathe out for 8 paces, breathe in for 8 paces, and that. So you have to watch out for the traffic, because it's nearly as bad as wearing headphones. So it basically, it teaches you to get the rhythmic breathing going. And then when if you're having a bad night, you're not sleeping, if you lay on your back, just relax your arms and your legs. So tense everything, make a fist, tense your shoulders, everything like that, and then just gradually let go and relax and just lay back and just make sure everything's comfortable. You know, your gym jams aren't sticking or whatever. So you're just comfortable, and then just start doing some rhythmic breathing, and just breathe in, hold it in, and just enjoy the breath going in the body, and then breathe out. Enjoy it with the tongue on top of your head, and breathe out long and push, clear it all out, and concentrate as it goes out. That's all the bad toxins going out. Hold it out so they can't come back in, and then breathe back in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold it in. While you're holding it in, what's happening is it's like a bit of washing machine. It's getting a good old spooling around inside, and then back. And if you do that, as you just concentrate on that, even if you don't go to sleep, what you find is it's very relaxing, and it settles the mind down, and it settles you down. And so even if you haven't had a great night of sleep, you've had a restful night. You know, so it's just so that's you know, and there's lots of breathing. So there's lots of yoga books I could recommend, but there's some basic breathing books out there which will teach you rhythmic breathing. You know, there's very advanced stuff, you know, and to be honest, unless you really want to get into breathing techniques, and there's a book you could buy which is a 4.5-year course, and you do one breathing. So remember I said to you, this stuff takes time, where you can do one set of lessons for the first 6 months, to the next set, and so it goes on. So really, what I'm trying to do is here give you a base level of fitness. Not, you know, this is something that everybody can do. So everybody can walk for 1.5 miles a day. You know, an interesting thing I listened to today is the fact that nobody takes a lunch break. Everybody sits and eats their meals at desks. You know, or the boss might sack me. Well, to be quite honest, if you fall asleep in the afternoon because you've been sat at your desk, and you're not oxygenated properly, not working well, then that's quite a risk, really. So as you quite rightly said, breathing is a very important element, you know, because I think when I was on a survival course once, people said to me, well, the most important thing really is breathing, because if you stop breathing, you've got about 5 minutes if you're really good, you know, and if you stop drinking, you've probably got about 2 days. But if you stop eating, you've got about 124 days, I think is the record. So I think, you know, so breathing is a very important element, because it's taking all the toxins out of the body. Some of the other things that I like to look at is that we in the UK are very, very poor at, and that is stretching. So stretching our bodies. So we're sat here on a chair, you know, and as I always say to people, whenever you see a cat that's been laying down, no matter how old it is, what does it do when it gets up? It stretches. It stretches. So what should you do if you want to be mobile as you get older? You should do a stretch, you know, and there's a variety of stretches. You know, you don't have to be able to put your foot behind the back of your neck, you know, because it's embarrassing in a restaurant. But it's the thing is that stretching is a key mobility exercise. So I'm just gonna share with your audience, and then you can join in if you want. So I just like you put your arms directly above your heads, so straight up. So you can probably, my arms seem, from what I'm looking at, seem to be being chopped off halfway. And if you just drop one arm down, so it's behind your head, okay, and drop the other arm so it's just clasping your elbow, and just pull your elbow across. Okay, not too hard. So just so it's stretching. So we hold this position here. So what this does, this gives you, one of the things that people always complain about as they get older is mobility in the shoulders. So they get frozen shoulders. Well, frozen shoulders are really bad. Now, the most important thing is, as you practice this, if you can keep your head upright as opposed to dropping it forward. So, and then if we just basically undo that arm, drop the other arm down, and do the same on the other side, and pull that across. So what we're doing here is we're stretching out the back of the arm, the shoulder, and the shoulder blades, and everything to do with the shoulder. So why is that important? Well, the muscles that join up a lot of that go into the neck. And as we stretch this out, it eases off tension in the neck. So just both arms back up, and then just drop them down in front, and then just bring one arm across the front of you, left or right, doesn't matter. One of those, please, Sarah. Thank you. And then if you just turn your thumb so the palm is out, and then drop your shoulder down so your shoulder's relaxed, and pull it across your body. Pull your shoulder across your body. So in that position there. So what we're doing now is we're pulling the back of the shoulder across. Okay. And also the benefits of this will become very relevant in a moment to work. So this is something you can do at work because it gets everybody talking about you, but it makes you much smarter. Okay. And then if you do the other side, exactly the same. So palm out. You can't quite see that on the camera from me, but palm out, shoulder down. So it's exactly the same on the opposite side. Yes. Oh, thank you. Right. I'm glad you can't see Sarah. And just pull that across, and basically, and just relax. Okay. You should feel a pull in the back of the shoulder. Okay. And that's fantastic. And then just gently down. Just shake the arms off. Just let them hang down the side. Shake them off the side. Just relax your shoulders gently. And now, I want you to drop your chin onto your chest. And then lift your head back as far as it will go. And then back upright. Now you have to do the owl technique. So look completely to your left. Just slowly, not quickly. And then the same the other way, completely to the right. and then back to the front, and just drop the chin down into the chest and back up. Just shake the shoulders again and relax. So what we've actually done there is we've loosened off all the neck muscles in the back here. And one of the biggest problems is when you're working on a keyboard, they can't see me there, working on the keyboard, is that you get tension in there, and that tension causes headaches, and the headaches, you don't work so well. So if you do this every hour, okay, then basically what it will do is it keeps you mobile and it stops you getting the tension in your body, so you can actually carry on working.
How long do you hold each of those positions?
Ideally 20 seconds. Okay, so if you count 20 to 30 seconds is a recommendation, and I would normally go through it sort of 3 times. So I do that complete process 3 times, holding each position for 20 seconds. So it takes maybe about 5 minutes. And at the same time, I would stop looking at the screen, because if you do that every you can do something else while you do, you're talking to somebody, whatever, then basically you're taking your vision away from the screen, because we're not supposed to spend our time looking at screens for more than about, I think it's about 40 minutes now. 40 minutes, and then you look away, you know, for about 5 minutes. Otherwise, it ruins your retinas and everything else. So these are all important fitness things, okay, which are all, you know, all that information out there. But this, what this does, it's relaxing the neck and the shoulders, and so it stops you getting headaches and keeps, you know, and it also makes you sit upright and keep in there. And if you combine that with a bit of breathing, you know, while you're there, then it just keeps you in a nice fit condition.
And drinking plenty of water.
And drinking plenty of water. You have to be careful not to over drink water. I had one of my clients who was doing marathons overdrank water, and nearly got, there's a big word, I can't remember, it starts hydro. It's basically fluid on the brain, you know, so you have to be careful.
Overhydrated. So
yeah, so you can overhydrate. So really the recommendation is about 4 pints of water a day, you know, depending on how much you weigh and all that. Okay, and so what I say to people, so to my clients, because when you first started for the first 3 weeks, this leads us on nicely to the thing I was going to talk about. You spend your time, when you first do it for the first 3 weeks, you spend your time going to the loo, you know, all the time, because the water's going straight through you. But gradually the body will balance out in 3 weeks, and so it will get used to that amount of water and managing it. But you do need to do something that helps you sweat and actually lose that. So one of the other things on my list to talk to you about is really, when you're checking your body, one of the things that you should check, so this is the exciting part of the little talk tonight, is you should check your poo, okay? And if you want to know what poo looks like, you'll be really glad to know that if you put into Google, check my poo, right, there's a gallery of what poo should look like, which is kindly done by Channel 4 TV called Embarrassing Bodies. And you can actually look on there and you can see whether the stools, as they're called in the technical world, the stools that you're producing are healthy or not healthy, depending on what you're eating and what's going through your body. And the other thing is, I mean, the reason I know a lot about this is in Holland, they have, which most English people think are disgusting. I'm not sure they have them everywhere anymore, but certainly when I went there when I was younger, because everybody was into being healthy, they have the base where the toilet pan is higher than the water. So when you go, it drops onto the pan, so you can inspect your poo. And then when you flush it, it flushes that off, then shoots it across the other side and goes there, you know. But it's really important. And having now reached a certain age, every 2 years they send me a kit whereby you have to send your poo samples in anyway, which is a wonderful thing, you know, to check for bowel cancer. So, but it's really important just to check what's passing through your body. Exactly the same with urine. If you're producing very dark yellow urine, you're very dehydrated, and it is quite a risk. And if you're not dehydrated, then you know you really need to get it checked out, because it could be something else. One of the things I also talk to people about is diets. So I'm going to talk to you about eating raw beetroot at the moment. So one thing, the reason I mention that right now is because when you go to the loo, whether it's for a poo or for a wee, then it comes out red if you've eaten raw beetroot. So let's so we're going along nicely here. So how are we doing for time?
running out.
Oh, okay. Well, I did say there was a lot to cover. All right. So let me just talk about eating what I call eating sensibly. So when I talk to my clients, I say to them, one of the big issues is that most of us have a sumo diet. So I mean, I love sumo wrestling. It's one of my favourite sports. I went to the Royal Albert Hall to see them when they came over last time, and I think they're fantastic. So let me explain how the sumo wrestlers do it. They get up, they have a reasonable breakfast, and then they train for 3 hours, and then they have as much food as they can eat, and it's a mix of rice, fish, and beer. Not the beer's not in there. They drink the beer separately, and they eat as till they're almost sick, and then they go to sleep for 4 hours, and then they get up and they train. So when I talk to my clients, I say to them, I say, well, tell me this: do you come home every evening and have a big meal before you go to bed? And they go, oh, of course I do. That's what everybody does. They have dinner every night. And I go, right. Well, that's the sumo diet. So if you try to lose weight, that's not the way to do it. So some of the important things is I eat a lot of raw food, so I make up a salad every day, which is raw carrots, raw beetroots, raw celery, raw apple. I put a clove of garlic in it and a knob of ginger in it. Everything's raw. Okay. And if I've got it, I'll put some chicory in there as well, and things like that. And in addition to that, I also have very lightly cooked broccoli and cabbage. Literally, it goes in a pan on top of some other stuff. It's steamed for about a minute and a half, and that's it, done. Right, and that's my main meal of the day. And I have either 6 ounces of fish or turkey with it, and nothing else. Now, I used to be 20 years ago. I used to live on red meat stews, and lots of beer, and the thing was that wasn't doing me any, and I was doing fitness at the time, but that wasn't doing me any favors. So I think that the thing is, eat as much raw stuff as you can. Eat 3 proper meals a day. So have a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner. Try and make the lunch the biggest meal of the day. The breakfast is, so I have porridge and banana every day, summer and winter, doesn't matter. And I have half a cupful of porridge with soya milk and half a normal sized banana, or one small banana, chopped up and in it. That's my breakfast. Then my lunch is what I just described, and in the evening I'll just have a light snack. Okay. So, and if I'm trying to make sure my weight stays where it should be, then I don't have my coffee and biscuits in the morning or the afternoon. But being a normal human being, I still have those. So sticking with what I'm saying, if you stick to 3 meals a day and don't snack in between, you drink your water, then your weight will gradually maintain where it is. I just touched on a couple of things that, how we do for time? Going?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. So let's just
let's
just wind up on these key factors then. So I have one client, and we got the person onto a sensible diet, and I said, well, how's it going? And now, if you want to lose weight, there's one surefire way of doing it, is to keep a food log of everything that you eat or drink, and you actually swallow. You don't spit back out. You actually swallow, right? That goes on the log. Okay, exactly what it was, exactly what the quantity was, and how you felt about it, right? And that goes on there. It's important to put how you felt about it. Oh, I felt good about having that jam donut, because I like jam donuts. But it's, you just put it on there and just keep that log. And I guarantee you won't need to see any dietitians, because within a fortnight you'll know whether you're eating sensibly or not, and whether it's healthy. Right? And so that's one side. But anyway, so I had this person, and we had a food log, and we did all this, and it all looked good. So I said, I can't understand why you're not losing weight. And this person was in excess of 20 stone. And normally when we do these things, we're doing some exercise as well. And then I found they weren't actually putting down the quantities they were eating. And when we looked at the quantities, they were eating the quantity for 3 people. So it's really important to understand the quantities. Now, there's a lot of stuff being said at the moment about calorie count is not the way you should. What's important is you should eat the right stuff. But if you're not burning off what you're eating, and that you work that through calories. So you put in 2,000 calories, or you put in 3,000 calories, as a lot of people do these days, and you're using 1,800, 1,200 have to do something. And they don't come out in poo, trust me. They go on as fat. So that's one important thing I would say to everybody. If you're trying to lose weight, keep a food log. And be honest with yourself. Don't be honest with anybody else. I would just find one other person to be honest with, and just go, oh, it's not going so well, really, just so you know where you are. So that's that. So this was the quantities. The other thing I had somebody who, and this is where I'm really interested in the psychology side. So if you've got an interesting psychology case, you'll get my web address. Send me a note, because I'm really interested. And this was one where I helping somebody stop smoking, and they gave up smoking. We did some power walking to actually get some fitness going. And about 6 weeks into it, their voice changed slightly, because the smoking was giving them that gravelly voice. And the person gave up the personal training and went back to smoking, because they didn't want to lose this gravelly voice, because it made them sound sexy. they thought. So it's kind of, there are many more psychological reasons why we do and don't do things. So the last thing I just mentioned is there's a fantastic piece of research done by Sheffield University called the Ostrich Project, and it's on people who don't have insulation put in their lofts, is one part of it, but the other part is people who are overweight at risk of diabetes, where they don't take any action. And for me, not taking action is the real worry. And that piece of research is really interesting to read through, and they've done lots and lots of it. So most of the stuff I've talked about this evening is based on research, you know. So this isn't a piece of research, but this I find really helpful if you get colds, is if you take 3 grams of vitamin C, because we're one of the few mammals that don't produce our own vitamin C. And if you take 3 grams, it shouldn't give you the runs. It might, it shouldn't do. Take 3 grams of vitamin C every day, and you gargle every night before you go to bed with salty water. Okay, spit it out, but gargle with it 3 times, spit it out, but don't drink anything else after that till the next morning. You'll find that the cold will go quite quickly. That's my old grandfather's tale. No clinical research on it, but it works for me. And that's me finished.
Trevor's email address to contact him if you want to get in touch with him is trevor@thehealthexchange.co.uk. And for those of you watching live, I've just put that up. For those of you that are watching the YouTube video, I will make sure that goes under the YouTube video. And for those of you that are watching right now on YouTube, please go to the giftofhealingtv.com website and you'll find it on the About Us page. So if you want to, but it's trevor@thehealthexchange.co.uk. I am going to say this because I've known Trevor for nearly 16 years. He'll be 65 later this year. He still teaches karate. He still teaches personal fitness clients. 3 years ago, during a karate class, his kneecap suddenly snapped in half. He was on crutches for a while, obviously. Everything he says, he does. It wasn't easy to go back after, 8 months on crutches and whatever. 8 months of not being able to do his exercise, etc. He did everything the doctors asked him to. He is living proof of what he's talking about. He's not somebody that is telling you what to do and he doesn't do it himself. He trained me to do a 10k run. I haven't run anything since, but he did get me to do one. So, he knows what he's talking about. He's lived this in his life. And if you're not sure about the raw beetroot, recommendation from him: grate an apple, grate a carrot, and grate the raw beetroot and mix it all up together. Actually, it's not too bad, folks. It tastes quite nice. So lovely that you've joined us this evening. Thank you very much for that. And I'm trying to remember what I've got next week now, and I've forgotten what I've got next week. On Monday, we're being joined by Mandy Horton. And what is Mandy's sharing with us? It's 7:30 in the morning here in the UK, folks. So please go to the website. It's on the website, and I apologise, Mandy. Obviously not been thinking straight this evening. Please join us Monday next week. And if you can't join us at 7:30 in the morning because Mandy's in New Zealand, then the replay will be out there for you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for Trevor for joining us. I hope you didn't mind me letting people know you're nearly 65. And I look forward to seeing you again. Love, peace and light to you all. Have a great week, folks. Cheerio. Bye.